Anytime's great for football, but I know when it feels just right.
I'm gonna kick back, relax.
Watching football on a Friday night.
It's Friday!
And we're gonna be hard to tame.
Eagle roll! It's Friday!
Coast to coast.
The CFL is Canada's game.
We're all kicked up to party!
And we ready for a fight.
Kick back, relax.
Watching Friday night football.
The boys are all back. Playing CFL football. The game is up for grabs.
It's Friday night football tonight.
Once again, kudos to all the players who sang on our new Friday Night Football theme, and how great of an introduction is that? We are live in beautiful Montreal, where Davis Alexander's era is set to begin. No bigger test for the QB than the defending champions, who hope to prove some big losses in the offseason won't affect their title defense. The Birdcage officially open here at Percival Molson Stadium. The Alouettes onto the field. This is a packed house, by the way. It doesn't get much better than a perfect weather evening and a panel who's riding about 10 hours of sleep apiece right now. I'm just kidding. We haven't slept at all. And you know what?
-7.
And I'll tell you this, it's completely worth it. Enoch Mwamba alongside David Sanchez as we get set for the Toronto Argonauts taking on the Montreal Alouettes. It is Friday Night Football, and look, there are so many storylines going into this game. Davis Alexander finally gets the reins as the starting QB. You have no Chad Kelly on the other side. He's still recovering, so you have Nick Arbuckle. You've got the defense of Toronto. You've got Beverett on the other side. It is endless. Ches, what are you looking for tonight?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a whole lot going on, and we're not sure what's going to happen. And that's something that can't be overstated. Is there's a lot of cliches in football, and we just heard someone interview a minute ago, a whole lot of cliches. But one thing that cannot be overstated, and it happened every single year in my 13 years of football, and that's at the beginning. You can attest to this, Enoch. That every single year you think that your team at the beginning of the year can be the winner, can be the best team. And you truly believe that, because remember, it's not like this is Pop Warner football. Every team is loaded with talent, and you actually think that your team can be there, because that's the only team you've seen. So the great thing is Sask right now thinks they can win the Grey Cup because they played a great week. Now there's a bunch of other teams going to find out about the rest of this weekend and see how they rise for the rest of the season.
Well, kid, I'm a little bit unusual when it comes to watching football, because I always watch it from a defensive perspective. And what better game to watch than these two teams who have been defensive-led the last couple of years. Both of them have gone to the Grey Cup and won as well. This is what I'm going to be looking forward to seeing. Which team is going to elevate their game, specifically on defense, because we know both teams got weapons on the other side of the ball. We know Chad Kelly isn't there, but Deontay McMahon, we talked about him already. He's going to do his best in person. Did you know he was a magician? Yes.
All I know is that he changed the pronunciation of his name.
Then you don't. That's what he does. With his speed, he is trying to be a magician. He's going to try his best impersonation.
By the way, if you change the pronunciation of your name, we're just going to give you a nickname. What do we call him? D-Money?
D-Money. Oh, that's his
that's
name.
what happens. If you're going to change it halfway through, then we're going to take there. Anyways, I know we joked a lot, but it is lovely being here with the both of you as well, too. I know two guys who played here, so this must be a special night. And yes, Ches, I actually see a Davis Sanchez jersey. And what better way to kick off Friday Night Football than our incredible national anthem.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez, s'il vous plaît, vous lever, si vous le pouvez, retirer chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation de notre hymne national par l'adjudant David Grenon de la musique de l'aviation royale canadienne de Winnipeg, accompagné de la garde de drapeau du Royal Canadian Hussars de Montréal.
Au Canada, avenir de nos aïeux, ton front est ceint de fleurs en glorieux, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix, ton histoire des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
What a way to kick off Friday Night Football on TSN. We've got the Alouettes, the Argonauts with Dustin Nielsen and Paul LaPolice coming up right after this.
I'm Trevor Harris.
Gary Peters.
Wentz McManus.
Curly Gittens Jr.
This is Stanley Brown.
You'd be silly to not draft me.
Make sure you draft me
Hey, make sure y'all go add me.
Make sure you draft me.
for your fantasy team if you want to win.
Kevin Halicki of Vancouver, BC. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. If the kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Kevin. Let's send it to the guys calling the game. It is Dustin Nielsen and Paul LaPolice.
Well, it may be a fresh feel for Friday Night Football, but two familiar foes are ready to battle. With Montreal set to kick off the season at home against Toronto, we get the 2023 Grey Cup champions in the Alouettes going up against the 2024 Grey Cup champions, and it's the Grey Cup MVP who gets the start in Week 1.
Yeah, Nick Arbuckle, the interesting thing talking to him this week, I said, you know, a year ago you were trying to make a football team. This year, you come in and see Grey Cup MVP. What did that afford you? He said, I can take a lot more shots downfield in practice and not get worried, Dustin. So he was really excited about trying to build and help this team in any way. Davis Alexander, his 5th start. He is 5-0 as a starter. He's actually 4 wins as a starter, and he replaced Caleb Evans in a game last season and led them to a huge victory. Jason Moss has opened the whole playbook for this football player, Davis Alexander.
Should be exciting to watch. Jason Moss, 23-12-1 as a head coach with Montreal. And, of course, as we mentioned, champions in 2023. Dinwiddie on the other side, a winning percentage of .676 as the head coach of the Toronto Argos. A very memorable game the last time these two teams met. It was the East Final last year. Another flyover on a Friday night to get us started in one of the best rivalries over the last few years in the Canadian Football League. To do it, thank you very much for joining us here. Last night's game was absolutely terrific, and I'm sure we've got another one in store for you here tonight, as that is hammered away by Maltos and will be taken by Calvin Turner Jr. with Janarian Grant unable to go. He'll handle return duties, takes it back to the 30, back to the 35, found a bit of space, and eventually gang tackled at the 40, a 31-yard return.
You know, with Nick Arbuckle, the biggest thing for him, talking to him this week, he talked about, I just got to make sure I do what I need to do to help my teammates. I don't have to push the ball downfield. I know we have a really good defense. We have to make sure we can move the ball, keep ourselves in a position where we can easily move the chains as he's going. You get Various Daniels, really good receiver for him. A lot of weapons for him. He's excited to make plays this game.
Confidence at an all-time high for Arbuckle. Starts it here just outside his 40. And Sankey moved up, saw something that would draw the flags. And 4 of them on the field.
Yeah, I don't think they had enough players on the field, so they drew the penalty originally to make sure they could get another defensive substitution.
So as a coach, how are you dealing with that? First defensive player of the year, Lapo.
It happened last night, too. Right on the Red Blacks game last night, there was a penalty in the first play.
Illegal procedure, procedure illégale. Toronto number 58. Toronto 58, 5-yard penalty.
We'll call procedure here.
And it looked like Byron Vaughn's, the new rookie football player, was late to get out on the football field. So I'm sure he'll hear from Noel Thorpe on that, but that's situational football. They take the penalty, get their defensive lineman, get everybody up on the field.
1st and 15 here the Argos on the road. Beautiful night in Montreal. Arbuckle looks to his right, throws in that direction, and it's Coatsy. Gets back to 5 yards, lost on the penalty. Let's take a look at this Argos offense for 2025.
Ryan Hunter, 24 most outstanding offensive lineman in the CFL, bumped out to tackle, and he might be playing at tackle for a while. Demonte Coatsy, first in the CFL with a 20-yard average. This is the big play receiver for the Argos.
92 targets last year for Coatsy. They go back to him again, covered well by Lorenzo Burns, and that'll bring up third down for the visitors.
Yeah, a couple of back-to-back throws to Coatsy. This was the guy that you talked to Ryan Dinwiddie. Hey, we want a guy that the quarterbacks can just throw it up and trust that a big player can make plays on the football. Had a tremendous year, one of their great re-signings in the offseason. Wasn't sure whether he could have traveled down south, but they were excited to get him back in the building.
860 yards in 17 games last year for Coatsy. Letcher takes it just inside his own 15, near sideline, puts on the brakes, flag thrown on the play, and he takes it back to about the 20-yard line, second in the league in returning overall last year behind Janarian Grant. There is a look at Mr. 4-0, Davis Alexander.
Bloc illégal, illegal block. Montreal 87, Montreal 87.
So Davis is going to...
At the distance, first down.
Going to start up, backed up inside his 8-yard line to start the season for him. Jason Moss talked about in the offseason that, hey, we have a veteran core in the receiving core. We have a veteran offense. Davis Alexander's been in the building for a number of years. We have the whole offense available to him. So expect to do a lot of different things and have their entire system ready to go. They're not treating him as a young guy.
Yeah, he's been around for a few years. Only attempted 21 passes through 2022 and 2023. And then obviously last year, more of an opportunity. They'll hand the ball off here on first down to Thomas Erlington, a big part now of this Montreal offense.
Jamar McGloster, 6'7" in his 5th year. Coach Moss said he had an outstanding camp. You want a good offensive line to help protect a young quarterback. I can't wait to watch Tyson Philpott. 10 games last season, 780 yards, 5 TDs. He was the big play receiver when they lost Austin Mack to the NFL. He's the guy who showed up and made a ton of plays early in the season before his injury.
Was on pace for 118 catches over a full season before the injury. They'll hand it off again, right up the middle. First down out to the 30 for Thomas Erlington.
If you watch, nice push in the offensive line. Thomas Erlington gets nice north-south lane on the inside zone. Davis Alexander's reading the backside end, tells Chatfield to get wide, creates that space for Erlington to get that big gain on 1st and 10. An area that this team really wants to get better at running the football. They're 7th in the CFL last year running the football. It's a great start.
22 yards on 2 carries. Back to him again, right up the middle again. And he'll take it up to the 35, tack on about 5 more. Let's take a look at Toronto's D.
Derek Parrish, 2nd year from Houston. That's the veteran of the Argonaut defensive line. Only 2 years, 6 sacks last season. I think they're going to expect a lot of things from him. Now, Cameron Judge comes over. Hey, this is his 100th game tonight, so a big stat for him. And in the back end, Tavares McFadden was a tremendous pickup for them. 12 games last season. He had a pick 6, and he had a 78-yard lateral in the Grey Cup for a touchdown.
Davis Alexander, 4 options out to his right. Under some pressure, gets it away. It'll be about a yard shy of a first down. His first completion of the year goes to Tyler Sneed, who had 24 catches over 7 games in which he was healthy last year.
Yeah, I like this. As he feels a little bit of pressure, just keeps moving around, trying to be a pocket athlete. And again, the quarterback, he can't find his primary. Can he find his next read? Finds his next throw, is able to put it in a situation where they're going to have a measurement. And, you know, this looks to be this short. As an offense, you're always going to go for this.
Half a yard.
Half a yard. You're going to trust your offensive line's going to be able to get the push, stay on the field.
And about even less than half a yard. So this offense will not be going anywhere. Jason Moss will send in the call.
And you'll see some type of quarterback sneak here. You don't want to put the ball backwards 7 yards, Dustin. You want to hand it. You want the quarterback to be under center and either go straight up the middle or off tackle, sometimes on a wider wedge. You'll see Caleb Evans has got a lot of experience in this. But We're going to try to get as low as you can, get underneath, follow your offensive line.
Evans, 26-year-old, third year with the Alouettes. Slides up under center, pushing ahead, needing just inches, flags on the play. He has the yardage for the first down.
Early in the season, we do have some younger players on the defensive line of the Argonauts. Is one of them offsides? That's usually what happens in this scenario.
You know, let me ask you that. The first 3 touches.
Hors-jeu, offside, Toronto, 94, 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's Chatfield. The first 3 touches of the game were to the running back for Montreal. How much you factor into a defensive line that's never played together and you're like, you know what, let's run it down their throat early in a game?
Yeah, I think you're going to go into establishing the run. Whether it's a young defensive line or not, it's kind of what you want to do offensively more. What you want to do than what the defensive line's doing, especially you don't even know if they're going to be good against the run early in the season.
Throwing here, or at least he wants to, near side, has Rambo, and they'll give him about 8 on that first down completion. His first catch of the year, had 61 in 2024.
Yeah, and Charleston Rambo was another big play receiver last year for this football team. This quick underneath route, close to the linebackers. Good vision by Davis. I loved how he flipped his hips quickly, found his underneath throw to his left. Put him in another second and short, run percentage down.
Creeping up towards midfield, the Alouettes on their first offensive possession of the ball game. Austin Mack over in the slot to the right. Alexander dumps it off. Some room for Sneed. He's got a first down. Takes it down inside the 40. That's his second catch of the ball game and their biggest offensive play of the evening.
2nd and 2 is a very heavy rundown. You're going to get experienced man coverage. Watch Sneed coming across the formation. He just outruns the man defender chasing him. You outflank the defense, create an explosive play, put yourself in field goal range. Sneed's the fast guy in that group, 5'7", from ECU, but East Carolina, but a really tremendous football player.
Alexander has started the game 3 for 3. Back into the belly of his running back, Sean Thomas Erlington. This time, tackle is made after a pickup of just a couple.
Mr. Winton McManus in on the tackle, making himself known to start the season, the outstanding linebacker for the Argonauts.
McManus came in at number 5, I believe, in our TSN top 50 players heading into the 2025 season.
Did you? I heard there's a rumor you were 51, Dustin. Is that true?
Definitely not. I don't think I would have made 5,100. Here's Alexander again. Gets it away. And another first down as they march on. Austin Mack hops back up, but it's blown down. And that's his first touch of the evening.
Right here, you're going to see a soft spot in the defense. Okay, you're just spreading the defense out. There's zone coverage. The corner expands. I throw inside where there's space. Good read by Davis Alexander. Seeing the pictures. It's all about seeing pictures for a quarterback, making sure, you know, your eyes are right and seeing where the throws are. Austin Mack just in zone coverage, sits down. Nice, easy first down.
1st and 10 from the Toronto 26. Alexander gets it away. End zone shot. Philpott lays out. No. Almost had it. Alexander knows he had him in behind the defense.
Post from the wide side of the field with a little bit of play action. He's taking the one-on-one on the outside. He's got no safety help. Just, he had to make a little bit of a move. You're going to see right here, a little bit of move. Threw off his angle a little bit. Just missed that timing a little bit for between Philpott and Davis. Again, Philpott was spectacular last season. I expect this to happen more and more as these guys get more comfortable playing together.
This place would have erupted. Philpott had 5 touchdowns in 9 games last year. Alexander under pressure trying to escape, and he's taken down right in his face. Nowhere to go. Anthony Lanier gets his first sack of the season.
Anthony Lanier coming over from Saskatchewan. If you watch him, he gets good push. And what you're trying to do, right, you're trying to create a dent in the pocket so he can get through. As Davis starts to scramble because he doesn't trust what's happening, Lanier bench presses his guard off and is able to make the play. Really good play by the veteran football player brought over this season. I heard talking to the coaches for the Argos, they've really enjoyed him. He's been a pleasure in training camp and can give them a big player in the middle of the field.
38-yarder for Maltos straight away, and that one is wide left. He missed it, and it's going to fly through the end zone. Maltos 91.7% last year on field goals. Blows that opportunity left. Arbuckle, what a performance. One we'll never forget in last year's Grey Cup. He'll have the ball when we return. Lots of talk. Last season, 4-0, very impressive, and they make the decision to turn the keys over to Davis Alexander. What's his long-term potential look like, Lavel?
Well, I think a couple things made that decision easier for, Jason Moss and Danny Machocha. One, he was in the building for a couple of years, so you already knew his work ethic, how he's going to prepare, and then he does get that opportunity. He gets 4 starts. He goes 4-0 in those starts, and he comes off the bench in one of them to get their 5th win. So they had a lot of good data points so they could make that decision, I think.
No surprises.
No surprise. And then certainly sometimes, you also like the fact that you can get him at 28. It's a good age for him. He's going to be in a reasonable contract situation. But everything about him from Jason Moss is he's what Jason Moss wants. A competitive guy who works his tail off, that the players want to play hard for. Jason said when he wasn't the starter, he was preparing like the starter every day. He loved his competitiveness, and that no plays were too big for him when he had his opportunity.
Needs 8 yards here for a first down. 3 options out to his left, 2 to his right. Zips it in there, didn't he? And that'll be a first down as he goes back to Tyler Sneed, team leading 3rd catch of the ball game.
This is what you do when you get some good yardage. You go up first down, you have one guy clear out, and you have a second guy come inside. This is an easy timing throw. Get the ball out of your hands on rhythm. When you get positive yards on 1st and 10, very easy to make these throws. Nice, easy decision. Excellent catch on the outside.
Nice start for 25-year-old Tyler Sneed. Had 5 touchdowns 2 years ago. Injured last year, didn't have one. Alexander on the run to his right, down the field, up for grabs, incomplete. Heaved it up there for Charleston Rambo, but he could not climb the ladder.
Big play action boot trying to get Rambo. Rambo does actually get behind the defense, but it's too late. Alexander can't see it in time because Lanier is there. Thank God for defense, Lanier is there, or else that throw would have been easy for Rambo, and that would have been a throw much sooner. But good chase by the Argonauts defense.
It's Derek Sluka out of Ithaca.
Division III guy. Love my Division III guys as a Division III football. He's a great story.
2nd and 10 for Alexander. On the run to his right, a little bit of room. A race looking for the first down. Got it, tiptoes the sideline, and picks up a little bit more for good measure. They'll give him 15.
And that's the other thing about Davis Alexander, 166 yards rushing last season. When you have quarterbacks who've got the ability to use their legs and create, there's a pressure situation. Parrish doesn't keep contained. Everyone else is in man coverage. When the quarterback scrambles, you can get a lot of yards. This is one of the keys to Davis's game. He's got the ability to use his legs and get downfield. Nice. It's always good to have a quarterback who's got the ability to use his legs to wreak havoc on your defensive line.
Montreal's offense last year, 9th in the league in yards gained. Now they'll hand it off. This is Tice. That's a hard run. Finds a little bit of space and eventually pushed out of bounds. They could not bring him down. That's his first regular season touch in the Canadian Football League. That'll be a first down.
Travis Tice was spectacular in training camp, was spectacular in his preseason games, and he just looks like a player who is saying, I am going to be here, and I'm going to stay here on your roster. And one of the things Dusty used to talk to the players about is coaches don't declare rosters. Players do. And that player right there, Travis Tice just said, I have to be in your building because of my play. Every time you watch him, he's running people over, he's getting extra yards, he's giving effort plays. So you can see why the Montreal Alouettes kept him and said, we want this player in our long-term plans.
40 career touchdowns at South Dakota. Now part of the Alouettes. 1st and 10 from the 31. Thomas Erlington now steps to the right, then turns it upfield. Pretty good pickup on the ground once again on 1st down.
You can see Montreal here trying to make sure they establish the run, get some talented running backs, try to help Davis, put him in manageable situations. Now you're in a 2nd and 6 here, really manageable down and distance situation in field goal range.
Over 100 yards of offense already in the game for the Alouettes. Just 1 point to show for it. Missed field goal, but Davis Alexander looking for more here. 3 options, wide side left, looks in that direction, throws in that direction, end zone, Philpott got it this time! Touchdown Montreal! Philpott strikes from Alexander, and it's a beauty to get us started on Friday Night Football.
One-on-one matchups on the outside. Tyson Philpott usually plays the widest side of the field. It's a one-on-one matchup. There's a pressure by the Argonauts. Davis sees it, throws it out there. Beautiful throw to Tyson. Nice high hands looking into the catch. Great start of the season for those two guys.
5 touchdowns in just 9 games last year for Philpott. Laid out for one earlier on that last drive, and it was just a little bit too long for him. Not this time. Maltos to make it 8-0. Puts that one through. That is a 7-play, 69-yard drive that took just under 3.5 minutes. Philpott wide open. Alexander drops it in there. Touchdown, Alouettes. For more on the defense.
Yeah, the one thing last year, even though the Owls were so good at limiting big plays and their red zone defense, Noel Thorpe made sure that the team in training camp this year watched all 12 picks that the team dropped and a couple of picks that they dropped over the course of the East Final. And the one thing Noel Thorpe said, and Darnell Sankey admitted this pregame, is he said to his guys, look, we can attack physically, I know that, but you got to attack the ball. And this is Noel Thorpe's words, guys, not mine. When you get your hands on the ball, you got to squeeze it, Dustin.
He squeezed it well for his first career interception. 18-yard pickup here to Philpott as Montreal will look to respond quickly. That's dropped in nicely over the defender's head. Alexander 3 yards away from 100. He's 7 of 9 with a touchdown in the first half. Travis Tice in at running back, picks up some pressure in the form of Parrish. Dumping it over the top, Dallaire midfield. And that'll be a first down for the Alouettes.
This is the creativity that I believe Davis Alexander is going to. This is a play-action pass. They've done 2 straight play-action passes. The pressure gets inside, forces him to move, finds Tice underneath, makes an off-schedule throw. This is what a lot of people in Montreal love about Davis Alexander. Not only his ability to process, see pictures, but also to create with his legs.
That'll put him up to 108 yards in the opening half. And he's got his team marching once again up to midfield. Lots of moving parts here. They'll tuck it into the belly of Philpott. Can he find some space back to the line of scrimmage? And no further. Tracked down nicely. There's a flag in the secondary here, though. It was Tavares McFadden who eventually forced him out.
See what this flag is. One of the things Philpott was so good at, watching him in the draft, his ability to use his to run with a football. So you can see teams trying to give him opportunities, get a speed sweep occasionally. See the
bloc illégal dans l'angle mort, blindside block, Montréal numéro 14. Montreal number 14, 15-yard penalty. Second down, deuxième.
See if we can find this.
Charleston Rambo
on the penalty. Yep, so he cannot deliver a blow with force and he delivers a big blow up at the top of the screen. You know, you've got to make sure, like I always use the term to players, like, hey, if you're going to go ahead and block somebody and face him up here, you got to crack him kindly. You can't hit him with any type of force. That's too much of a force. That's going to be called every time. So that puts them in a big hole here.
2nd and 26. What can they dial up this time? Alexander under pressure, escapes on the run to his right, still can't find anything. Opens it up himself, trying to turn it upfield, eventually tracked down from behind. A roar from the crowd, but it will be 3rd down. But there he is again, showing what he can do with his feet.
Well, it was 2nd and 26. We were thinking there possibly could have been a dribble kick, right? But
that's right.
Kind of don't have the player to do dribble kicks anymore. He's traded away, gone to other places. So, yeah, the one thing Davis did say is the coaches have talked to him a little bit about, like, hey, listen, they want me to be aggressive. They want me to go downfield, but I also protect myself, make sure I don't take any hits I don't need to.
Zima set to kick it away. Unger and Turner will wait for it on their own 10.
Montreal number 36, 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down. St. Vincent.
Geoffrey Canton-Arcoo comes running out late, so another time count penalty because they don't have enough players on the field, so they take the penalty, get enough players on the football field. So Byron Archibald, special teams coordinator, is not going to be happy with some of these guys.
Zima from his 35 hangs it up there. Turner takes it inside his 10. A stumble, though. Those are big shoes to fill with Janarian Grant, the guy you're replacing after a 56-yard kick here at Percival Molson Stadium. Excellent crowd on a Friday night.
Going to the washroom, and all of a sudden it's a giant photo of Enoch Mwamba. Chezzy, I'm still looking for yours. I know it's down here somewhere. Dusty, it's down here, I promise.
I don't know. A long time ago now.
Kate, did you say it was in the washroom?
Yes, it was.
Oh, my goodness.
Aralahu puts that one up, and that is through. Toronto is on the board. Let's send it back down to Luke Wilson.
Yeah, you know, I've been real excited right now to see how the Alouettes offense is rolling. To me, I think it's the perfect game plan. As a coach, Coach Moss and Anthony Calvillo clearly came out here and they wanted to try and establish this run game against the Argos' new D line. And they got that going. And it's tough runs. They're breaking tackles. They're coming downhill. And I'm telling you, if you can't stop the run, you can't stop anything. Then you come out, little play action, slide route. Again, it's masterful calls here. And then what happens? You miss this shot to Philpott. It's cover 0. You're leaving this guy on an island. And I was shocked that they're going to try this again on the next drive. And I will say Davis Alexander, when it wasn't exactly what you needed, made plays with his legs. And again, you should have hit Philpott on the first cover 0 rep, and you come back on the next drive. The Argos gamble again, and the Alouettes make them pay.
Not a guy that you want to let get in behind your defense in Philpott. Usually he doesn't need that type of advantage. He's got 3 catches for 43 yards and that touchdown.
Good stop there by the Argonauts defense. Cameron Judge showing up, making a nice tackle in the hole to minimize the gain to 0 in that 1st and 10 play.
Montreal with the ball again, leading by 5, just over 2 to play in the 2nd quarter. Alexander out to his right on the run, might have enough room to get it. I think he did. Very close. Looks like a 1st down here for the Alouettes.
And something Davis said in the game, in the pregame show, he talked about the Argos may need to pressure more, and when you pressure, you play man coverage. Another snap of man coverage. Nobody's got the quarterback. Davis saying scramble for the 1st down. So once again, the ability to use his legs is something that's going to be hard when you try to pressure him and play man coverage.
This is not good. It was McManus who was in pursuit of Alexander. You saw in that last replay, and now he is going to get looked at by the training staff. Looks like he'll walk it off to the sideline at least.
Spectacular player. CFL All-Star 2 of the last 3 years. I mean, last year in the Grey Cup, Dusty, I just remember that guy knocking footballs down all game. 1 interception for a touchdown. Sometimes when you have to chase and you really have to open it up and run full speed, that's when you can pull muscles. Sometimes that'll happen. At least for me and you, Dusty.
It can certainly happen from time to time. Argangelo will come into the game for McManus.
He's a talented football player. He played in. He had 5 starts last year, 35 defensive tackles, 1 sack. I enjoyed watching him on film last year. I thought that was a good find. Second-year player from Illinois.
25-year-old. Now in the middle of this defense, Alexander quickly gets it out. And that's into the hands of Austin Mack. 5-yard pickup, his second catch of the game. Man, Alexander's in a good spot with these weapons that he's got. Philpott's healthy. Mack is back. Rambo was a beast when those guys weren't around. We talked about Snead.
And I like how they call a game. Like Jason Moss loves screen passes. And that's a quick screen. Throw it outside to Austin Mack. Locate the football. Let an athlete get 5 to 6 yards. Put yourself in second and medium. So Montreal runs a lot of these wide receiver screen plays.
Midfield, they need 5 to keep this drive moving. Alexander wrapped up from behind, and he is taken down. That's Parrish. Having a nice start to his season. Had 6 sacks last year.
Good pressure by Parrish. As Davis tries to find an escape route. Sometimes you're just trying to say, hey, defensive lineman, make sure that guy cannot escape outside of you, and then you can move back inside. So nice play by the Argos defensive line. As we said off the top, we know there's so many different people in the building now of rushing the passer, but this team did have the most sacks in the CFL 1 season ago.
Zima stands on his own 40. Under the lights here in Montreal, hammers it away. Turner waits, lets it bounce at the 5. Now has to pick it up at the 1. Pushes it back out beyond the 10 and no further.
Power, precision, performance. The Lincoln Navigator Cup. Who will have their mic drop moment? July 1st, only on TSN.
It's the battle we didn't know we needed, but we're very excited for.
Yes.
That's going to be a good one with those 2 guys going head to head. Arbuckle will get the ball back here. A little bit of time still.
It's the long field, so you got 1:03 left. So you certainly got the ability to drive the length of the field, but they also have to think situationally. Hey, if we don't get a first down, we might have to punt out, backed up, and give the Montreal. You just don't want to give Montreal an opportunity to go on offense again.
4 options out to his left, looks in that direction, dumps it off, caught at the 15. Brissett, second catch of the game, and Beverett there after a 5-yard pickup. So are you being cautious or aggressive in this situation?
Well, you got positive yardage. If you got 0 yardage, you might start thinking, hey, we better be careful here. We don't want to put our defense on, and we don't want to punt from backed up. So here, they should have everything. They got plenty of time to go get this first down and see what they can do. Maybe go tempo after this.
Williams in it, running back to the right of Arbuckle. They work from their own 17. Arbuckle thought about a deep shot, didn't he? Now he has to get it away. He's hammered. Ball pops loose. They haven't blown it down. It's going to be picked up and taken back to the end zone. Is this a touchdown? And Emmy Berglund takes it home. Arbuckle saying he was throwing it forward, and we're going to have to sort this out late in the first half.
Demi Berglund was CFL East All-Star, 7 sacks. This is a great football player. But as the ball starts to be thrown up in the air, they'll take a look at that and they'll see that it looks like it's bounced, right, Dusty? Did you see it bounce?
Yeah, well, you'll see it here. He comes out, and then it does look like he throws it ahead right there.
Yeah, that's going to be a throw, and there's
that's
the
an
bounce.
incomplete pass.
So it's going to turn into an incomplete pass. So As an incomplete pass, now that's what I'm talking about. There's 27 seconds left. So now you do have to punt. Backed up, you put yourself in a position.
Previous play is under review by the command center. Le précédent jeu est en reprise vidéo par le centre des commandes.
Now, it did look like it sort of slipped out of his hands as he was trying to push it ahead, but...
So command center is going to now be looking... the command center is now going to take a look at this to determine whether it's a forward pass or a fumble. That's what they're trying to decide, and they're going to use their discretion to see whether it's a forward pass or a fumble.
You'll see his hand right... Let's see if we can see it here. It sort of slips out of his fingers right there. Yeah. It looked like it was out of his arm before his arm moved just slightly forward. So
this will be interesting to see. Is it slipping out right here before he's thrown the football? That's the determination command center is going to try to make.
All right, will this stand? Fumble and a touchdown. Let's find out. Here's the ruling.
Upon review by the command center, the ruling on the field of a fumble is confirmed. We have a touchdown. Après reprise vidéo, la décision prise sur le terrain est confirmée. Touché Montréal.
Amy Berglund is fired up, and a crowd here to their feet. Unforced error from Arbuckle, and the Alouettes take advantage.
So obviously command center ruled on this play here. You can see that they felt that the ball was out before he made the throwing motion. So ruled fumble. Debbie Berglund there chasing the football. And remember, this Montreal defense 2 years ago broke a team record for defensive scores. And that's something they take pride in and continue to do. Pressure on the quarterback causes the fumble. Debbie Berglund there to pick it up, scoop and score for the defensive score.
I think that last look we had at it was probably the best one. We saw that ball pop up before the arm came forward. And boy, we were talking about, do you be cautious? Are you aggressive in this situation? That's the last thing you want to have happen. Montreal at home on a Friday night in the driver's seat now. Touchdowns from Philpott and Isaac at Amy Berglund. We saw the contact coming in.
Uguak trying to get a piece of it too. Demi Berglund right there. And you know, he was a great free agent signing last year for this football team, for Damon Chocha and company, coming over from Calgary, the most outstanding Canadian in the East. You know, he had 9 tackles for losses, the best in the CFL, led the CFL in tackles for losses. And I love they move him in different spots. And I think what Noel Thorpe's done with him, you know, he really brought out the best in this football player, giving him different roles and moving him around, and been a spectacular addition to this defensive unit. Getting the most out of that player.
Living up to the hype of a 3rd overall pick.
And he's got a lot of face paint.
It does.
A lot of face paint.
How long does that take?
I don't know. You know, it's a lot of work right there. We should do that one game on Montreal. Me and you, we put the face paint on.
You're going to be committed, right? You're either in or you're not in.
Oh, you know, it used to be just the little stickers with the blackout stickers. It's a lot of work right there.
I got some kids I coach. They're 10 years old. They play hockey. They put on a little bit of eye paint. I don't want to tell them they look ridiculous.
I thought I have a lot of makeup on tonight, but
Montreal will hammer it away again. Maltos down to the 10. Brought back by Calvin Turner Jr. 29 stopped in his tracks by Vaughns, among others. And Arbuckle will trot back out. Interception, and then that costly fumble in the first half for Arbuckle, 11 of 15 otherwise.
And that's kind of the thing for Nick to become the, you know, a full-time starter somewhere. Those are the, you know, he's had some fumbles in his career. He's had some interceptions in his career. Those are the things that he needs to kind of clean up in his game to become a consistent starter in the CFL.
26th start of his career tonight, 10 and 15 in the first 25, spread across Calgary, Edmonton, Ottawa, and of course Toronto. Down by a dozen with 25 seconds on the clock. Arbuckle heaves one down the field, and that's going to fall incomplete. Coxie could never really pick that up, I think.
And all the way down to the bottom. Okay, you're seeing still pressure looks, and then they're bailing out the snap, but here's the one-on-one matchup. They're saying, hey, we're going to throw it to our best player on the outside, see if we can make a big play to flip the field so we can get in field goal range. Should be a safe throw on the outside, but good coverage on the outside. But I'll tell you what, this defense in Montreal, Beverett was playing free safety before the ball snapped, then all the way he's in the line of scrimmage when the ball snaps. So they're moving pieces around every play.
Coxey's been targeted 7 times already by Arbuckle. This time on the ground as the clock ticks down. They'll take it just outside their own 30 with Mayan Williams.
So they're now going, okay, we're going to just run the ball. We took our shot on first down, didn't work. Now let's just get out of the half. Don't stop the clock. Don't make us punt back to Montreal.
Alouettes will have to be happy with this opening half. Davis Alexander, 10 of 12, 113 yards and a touchdown. He also has 38 yards on the ground. Fantasy sleeper pick for many of you this week or this year. So Toronto goes into the room thinking what here?
You know, I think they're going to be a little bit worried about the penalties they took to get them in long yardage situations. But, I mean, it's 15-3. There's a lot of football left. Just get in rhythm. They gave up an explosive play for a touchdown. Just go back and play. Plenty of time left to play football. They just got to clean up their penalties.
Tyson Philpott healthy to start the season for the Alouettes, and that's a good thing. 3 catches on 4 targets, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Could have been 2 touchdowns as they missed him. The one target he didn't catch was pretty much uncatchable as Alexander had some pressure and had to throw it over his head in the end zone. But Philpott, obviously an excellent weapon for the Montreal Alouettes offense, and he's standing by with Matt Chenet.
Wow, you had a big smile on your face before the start of the game. We talked about it, how good you felt being back on the field. Take us through that touchdown drive. You almost had the one where you stretched out, but the one that fell just right in your pocket.
Yeah, you know, Davis was pretty tough on himself on that first one, but I just kept telling him we're gonna get that play back. We're gonna make the most of it. You know, they call it go route. I see my opportunity come, and I gotta make the most of it.
The aggression that Davis Alexander plays with as a starting quarterback, what does that do for the offense?
Yeah, it elevates us, man. It makes us all the receivers especially step up to another level. You know, we know he's gonna bring it. We gotta bring it for him, and just stay tuned, man. That's just the start.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Matthew.
Well, Kate, the Owls are up 12, and what were you talking about this atmosphere? When the Owls are humming, this crowd is just roaring.
What a perfect night to be here, in all honesty. And I know we haven't been on location, the panel, for a few years now, but my goodness, you can just feel the energy. And when you have a guy like Tyson Philpott back in this action and healthy, I mean, you just absolutely love it. We have much more coming up right after this. You know what? Instead of that, we'll come inside now, and I'm going to blame the 3 hours of sleep for that one. So back alongside David Sanchez and Enoch. I mean, give us a break.
I was about to take a quick nap.
I don't even care. That's a mulligan, and it is what it is. It's live television. Let's just keep talking about Tyson Philpott now. And Ches, you said this before this game tonight. I mean, watching him come back August the 8th, it was last year. We saw him go down with that foot injury, and all of us just, it was just one of those moments because he was having a career year. It might have been a franchise record-setting year. And you said in pregame, watch out for him because guess what? He is going to have a touchdown. He nearly had one right in front of us, and then the next drive for the Alouettes, boom, it happens again. So he's had a fantastic start to this game.
Yeah. Jason Moss calling that vertical passing game. It drives me crazy when I see offensive coordinators in this league, or just offenses in general, dink and dunk, and not attack vertically. When you have a waggle, when you're playing in the Canadian Football League, and you have the advantage of running with the waggle, you got to attack people down the field. You got to flop formations. Use that motion to hit the line with speed. And that's what we saw early in this game. If you watch, and Lapo talked about it up in the booth, they're flopping formations, they're hitting the line with speed. These receivers, you put a lot of pressure on their defense when you run formations like that. Early on, you saw that. And then again, this right here, you get in Tyson Philpott. When you got guys like Rambo and Mack, and then Philpott one-on-one, and they're using their waggle, it makes it really tough on defenses. Jason Moss, the play caller, a lot of conversation, of course, about Davis Alexander, what he looked like. But Jason Moss is a guy, even back in his playing days in Edmonton, they had Ed Hervey, Jason Tucker, who would stretch the heck out of the field vertically, make you defend it, and then Terry Bond would work the heck out of the underneath. You have to do that against defense in the CFL. I love what they did. Of course, I love what Davis did, but I love what Jason Moss, the way he called that first half.
It was brilliantly called, that's for sure. And you know what the great part for the Alouettes right now? It isn't just the offense. This is the defense as well. And that D-line is making Nick Arbuckle's life absolutely miserable. And my goodness, we just saw on the play, too, where they had the last touchdown. It was Sean Oakman, who just came across, and you're like, he felt that. And they've been doing it the entire first half.
Kate, I felt that.
I felt that.
But we talked about how much defensive-led teams these two were. And you look at the defensive, right now Montreal's defense is putting way more pressure on Nick Arbuckle all night long. There's 2 sacks recorded in the stat sheet, but there was so much more pressure. And he's seeing a lot of goals out there as well. And then obviously they were able to get an interception by Lorenzo Burns right there and made good on it. We talked about it, got his hands, and he took it and made well on it. This is the play that he needs to start making sometimes as well, though. Nick Arbuckle, we talk about the Sean Oakman sack right here, too. Got right into his face, and guess what? Turnovers turn into points as well. So this defense is putting so much pressure on this offense right now for the Toronto Argonauts. They're going to have to find a way, because right now, Nick Arbuckle's seeing ghosts. And if they want to find a way to take steps forward, they're going to have to calm down, have better communication in order to pick up the blitzes. Because if we saw that Sean Oakman hit, there wasn't a blitz. They showed blitz, got out of it, and Sean Oakman just went straight for Nick Arbuckle.
They're going to have to protect him, especially in this time right now when, he's in for Chad Kelly, but they're going to have to sort some stuff out. And we were saying, too, I'm sure Ryan Dinwiddie is having a nice, calm conversation with team in the locker room right now. All right, don't go anywhere. We got plenty more coming up right after the break. We have an amazing doubleheader, by the way. It's amazing to think this is just day 2 of the 2025 CFL season. An all-Canadian QB matchup wraps up the doubleheader, and we've got Nathan Rourke after the break.
We gotta beat Montreal. What's up, football fans? Thank you for hanging out with us tonight for week 1. CFL action. The CFL is back, and our Argos are reigning Grey Cup champions. We've got some silver to celebrate tonight here on the channel. It was amazing. We had just about passed 60,000 subscribers during the Grey Cup last year, and we appreciate you being here doing all of the cool YouTube stuff. Welcome to our awesome Argos community. Please hit that like button. Please share this link out. Please subscribe if you're new. Turn on that bell so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Argos game this season, as well as every single Blue Jays game and every single TFC game. Go Toronto, go. Go you, go. Go Insiders, go. Go Argos, go. We'll see you back in the chat. Thank you for helping us grow this awesome community by doing all that cool YouTube stuff. We'll see you back in the chat. Go Argos!
You know what the best part is right now? We're not even halfway through week number 1 in the CFL. Coming up on Saturday, it's a fabulous doubleheader. First up, it is Bo Levi Mitchell and Hamilton Tiger Cats taking on the Calgary Stampeders. It is BA's debut. And then, of course, Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions against Edmonton. Here's Farhan with Nathan.
Well, Nate, you've spent a whole off-season trying to make this your team. Just how excited are you for the opportunity to get out there with that group and show that part of it?
Yeah, I think we're really excited. I think this is obviously what you work for all off-season. You lift all the weights and you run all the time and you throw all the routes. And so we're excited to see where this goes. And I think the rest of the guys are excited as well.
I want to ask you about the receivers that you're playing with, and you've had some time last year with a number of them. Keon Hatcher was a guy you had great chemistry with in 2022, and he was coming back off some health scares. So where are you at in terms of chemistry with those guys right now on the field with the new offense?
Yeah, I think we feel good. I think we feel really comfortable, very confident with each other. We're looking forward to it. I mean, this is, again, we're excited just to play football again. It's been a long off season for us, not finishing 24 the way we wanted to on a number of different levels. We've regrouped really nicely. We're excited with the new direction of the team, and we're hopefully it shows on the field on Saturday.
Last thing I'll ask you is just your relationship with Buck, right? I mean, 2 quarterbacks getting to do this together. How has your relationship evolved as quickly as it has?
I think it's been good. I think it's just he's just got a passion and love for the game that you see, and you're able to kind of meet him there and kind of be excited to learn everything from him. I've just been excited to just kind of be a sponge around him and try to pick up as much as I can. And I feel like I've learned a lot about football in the last couple of months, and I'll continue to learn, I think, through this offense. So I'm just excited that we've got someone like him at the helm, and we're ready to follow him wherever we go.
You got a favorite Snoop song?
Man, too many to pick from. Next episode, maybe? Is he in that? No. Yeah.
It's on the playlist. Nathan Rourke is demanding it.
There's some explicit ones I can name.
Enjoy the concert and the game.
Thank you.
Can we give a shout out to Rod Smith, by the way? Remember when he got caught off guard by that? And you know what he said?
Drop it like it's hot.
He's like, no, a song that no receiver wants to hear. Drop it like it's hot. Like, he was instantaneous.
Rod Smith, those more Snoop songs.
It's on his playlist.
I know, of course it is. People don't know Rod Smith, but he is a legend, let me tell you that. Nathan Rourke, a lot of expectations. He's there for a full training camp. The chemistry with Buck Pierce, all eyes on that. What are you expecting, Ches?
Yeah. I wish, watching that interview, I wish Nathan would loosen up. Nathan would loosen up a bit, have some fun. He's such a talented player. And look, you got to be who you are. So don't fake it. That's who he is. He's a laid-back kind of guy and never gets too high, never gets too low. So I get it. I just wish he would loosen up and let it fly, because when he's playing like that, he's playing really good football. Looking at him now, I can see the pressure. The pressure, it looks like he feels the pressure, and understandably so. We look at, coming into this, it's everyone talking about Trey and Nathan and how the Canadian quarterback matchup. Really, it's about living up to that contract for Nathan.
I'm looking forward to the game that's going to happen in Calgary, and not for anybody in Calgary, but for the man that is going back to his old home. Only few players in the Calgary Stampeders right now remember Bo Levi Mitchell wearing the Calgary Stampeders jersey. When he's going to go back, he's going to make it look like he doesn't want to play these guys.
You know what, you're right. I think everyone's looking at the All-Canadian QB matchup, which is going to be phenomenal, but you're right. I'm so excited to see Bo Levi Mitchell go into Calgary. Of course, Vernon Adams Jr. to make his regular season debut as well. All right, don't go anywhere. We got second half action, though, between the Argonauts and the Alouettes. The Owls up by 12. We'll get you back to action right after this.
On your mark, set, go. I'm ready if you're ready. We ready to start the show. I'm trying to keep it cool, but walking in with a glow. Something divine, my time to shine. Years with my peers, I've been on my grind. Put me to the test, I put it on the line. One goal, so there's one thing on my mind. To be number one, here we come. I like that a lot. But it's not what else you got?
Second half coming up under the lights in Montreal, where the Alouettes lead the Argos 15-3. Demonte Coxie, 72 yards in the first half. He's with Matthew Schnetti.
Demonte, right now, given the fact that the running game hasn't really been established, what kind of pressure does that put on the receivers, knowing you guys got to claw your way back into this game?
It don't really put too much pressure on us. You know, we just got to go out there and execute, make sure we blocking for our running backs to get them out and get them out of there. And the O-line's been doing a good job. We've been fumbling a little bit, but we're picking it up.
Take me through the keys to making a great contested catch against this aggressive defense, because every time you come to this stadium, you seem to just find your way to get through that coverage and get your hands on the ball.
There's nobody but God, man. I'm just a vessel that they're using right now, and every time I come out here, it's just about the details. RD always tell me that details. So when I come out here, I just make sure I'm emphasis on my details.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
They could use a big second half from Coxie. Montreal will get the ball to start the half. Letcher had to backpedal and grab it just inside the 5. Turns it back, breaks one tackle, gets a big block at the 40. Now he'll take it to the 50 and cut it back. Letcher still going and eventually tracked down from behind. They get there, but Letcher, a big one. Teadric Hansen with a touchdown-saving tackle. But fireworks from Letcher on Friday Night Football.
Great job going to the wide side. Sometimes these wide side returns are so hard because of the width of the field. Finds a little crease, cuts it back. Teadric Hansen, you see him coming into the screen, running with speed to make this tackle. A great execution by the special teams of Montreal. Kicking off, creating great field position to start the second half for the Owls. Byron Archambault fired up.
Loving that one. How can you not? They're going to start here on the Toronto 40 with a 12-point lead. Third quarter officially underway. Low snap. I'll hand it off. And that back to the line of scrimmage no further. Here's a look at Davis Alexander in the first half.
10 of 12 passing, very good, 113 yards, 1 touchdown. And, there's some underneath throws. They took a couple opportunities at a couple of shot plays, but I like what they did offensively. Sean Thomas-Owens got 38 yards rushing. Alexander himself has 38 yards rushing. There you see the shot play. They protected him versus blitz, and he had the opportunity to make the throw. He made the throw. So a good first half. He's got a great defense around him. Doesn't have to do too much.
2nd and 10 here. 4 on the pressure for Toronto, and Alexander takes off again, and he uses his feet to pick up a Montreal first down. 12 yards. That'll give him 50 on the game.
Once again, he's got the ability when he sees everybody running out of there in man coverage. I don't like the picture. The protection's not great. I'm just going to scramble, get the first down. Right now, like I said, he doesn't have to make too many bad throws, to make bad decisions. I'm just going to scramble and get what I can.
Didn't hesitate either, right? Nope. He knew it. Boom, there's space. Let's go. Got his team a first down, and they're working from the Toronto 28. This time he wants to throw, and he will. Heads up. Big hit coming. And hanging on to the ball on the far side of the field after the hit from McFadden. Austin Mack's second catch of the ball game.
Yeah. And when you see basically McFadden's looking inside, and as the quarterback pulls it on the perimeter.
Oh, it's Speaker.
Okay, sees the throw on the outside. He's going to be the low player in that zone, so he's just going to be rallying up. The throws to the wide side of the field, he can rally up. Just make sure he wraps up and makes a tackle to the wide side. Nice tackle from McFadden there on the wide side of the field.
First catch of the game for Speaker. Had 58 of them last year. Alexander gets this one away. There's Mack, and he'll take it down inside the 15 as the Alouettes march on another first down for the home side.
Really nice rhythm throw to the outside. To Austin Mack, his big target. Those throws to the wide side of the field. Nobody underneath you, so it's easy to make a nice timing throw. Again, he's just staying on schedule. When you're 2nd and 6, you can throw those 6-yard throws, fall forward for a first down.
First trip to the red zone by either team.
I noticed that.
In tonight's game. Alexander, end zone, lays it out there, broken up. Tried to find Philpott again, and McManus with the denial.
You don't see that happen often. but Wynton McManus made a spectacular play. The Alouettes are trying to create a corner route, and then Wynton McManus ends up covering Tyson Philpott. That doesn't happen often, but watch him go right through the hands. That's what you teach your defensive players. When the hands show up for Philpott, the ball's coming. Put your hands through his hands. Spectacular play. Great recovery in a difficult situation for a linebacker trying to cover a wide
Looked like
receiver.
McManus is pointing for somebody else. Go, and then
Somebody else help
I'll
me,
do
please."
it. I'll do it myself. Alexander finds Rambo trying to push to the end zone, and he will be stopped, but he's got a first down for Montreal.
Pressure off the edge. You cannot lose contain. When you lose contain, I think that was Mark Milton off the edge. When you blitz and pressure, you can't lose contain. Davis is going to make you pay. Finds Rambo back inside. Puts the ball at about the 1 yard line. So the big people will come in and they'll do their short yardage package to work. A little bit of trash talk here.
Chatfield, after lowering the boom on Rambo, talking some trash to the quarterback. Caleb Evans into the game, looking to finish this job for Montreal. Pushing ahead, he's in. Touchdown, Alouettes! Evans finishes what Davis Alexander started, and Montreal in full control at home, 21-3 the lead.
Really good. At the end of the second quarter, defense gets a score, correct? Defense gets a score. Come out in the third quarter. You've got the ball offensively. You drive the length of the field. Score a touchdown. That's a way you always talk about the end of the half and the start of the third quarter. We want to go out. We want to get touchdowns on both ends of those. One came from defense. One comes from offense. A nice 14-point swing for the Owls.
Altos to add one more. And that is up and through. It was a 7-play, 40-yard drive after the great return from Letcher to start the half. Caleb Evans, 4 touchdowns last year. He's got his first one this year tonight.
I'm Trevor Harris.
Gary Peters. Wynton McManus.
Curly Gittens Jr.
This is Stanley Brown.
You'd be silly to not draft me.
Make sure you draft me
Hey, make sure y'all go add me.
Make sure you draft me for your fantasy team if you want to win.
Premier essai, Toronto à la ligne de 30.
What a great play by Derek Sluka. Now listen to how this guy's path to the Canadian Football League. He was a free safety in college, Division III, small college Ithaca. The NFL teams say, try out for wideout. We think you can maybe be a wide receiver. So he goes to the Argonauts as a wide receiver. Halfway through camp, they move him to defensive back. And he shows speed and range, and at 6'3", he can make plays like that on the ball.
Yeah, big body back there, and the Argos get some much-needed life with the interception by Sluka.
And you just don't see that often. A guy switches in camp and is able to have the athleticism to go
rare,
compete and play. So, I mean, you got Derek Sluka, Marc-Antoine Dequoy, 2 really good big free safeties in this game. And that's what you need, your free safety. He's got to be able to recognize the balls in the air and run across the field and make a play on the ball. Ball is tipped up in the air. Makes spectacular play. And I guess you could put this guy in at wideout if you like, if you need to.
If you need to.
He probably already knows the playbook. Throw him in.
That's funny. Through camp, if he goes, it's not really working at wideout, I can be your safety. And then, okay, let's take a peek at you.
As a guy who's been a head coach, usually when you do that move, that guy's getting cut.
Yeah.
Not making the club.
He's not going to be a starter for you on opening night. Sirocco is down here. And he is up, which is a good sign. But there's definitely a bit of a hitch in his giddy up there.
So we have a center leaving from Calgary for a couple plays off. And he's replaced by a center from Calgary, Peter Nicastro, 5th-year player. Both guys from Calgary, University of Calgary College. Darius in his 7th year. Very intelligent football player. I enjoyed working with him in Ottawa. Understood the calls, could communicate. Biggest thing for a center is got to be able to communicate all the calls. Tell us, hey, this is how we're protecting on this football play. Both these guys have done that very well in their careers.
Second and a couple for Arbuckle. extends into his left. Montreal started to show a bit of pressure at Beverette. Now they'll back it off. They'll give it to Williams. Pushed back, in trouble. Flag on the play, and he's hauled down, pushed back inside the 30. Wynn's helmet is popped off for that Montreal defense. And there's a couple of flags on the play as this ball was moved out to the right.
So when the ball goes sidelines, that's when you get in trouble. Looks like Byron Vaughn's here can work to the sideline and prevent that play. You know, when you're 2nd and 2, the ball spills wide, you can be in a tough position to not get that yardage. And you can see the chess match. Toronto's worried about blitz, so they're doing what's called a double cadence, Dustin, where you pretend to snap the ball so you can look what's happening defensively. So between Noel Thorpe, Brian Dimwitty trying to figure out what's going on. We'll see what this flag is too.
Moss, a discussion.
They're giving him options right now on what this flag is and what to do. But a great job by the defense.
Okay, so we think there may be a penalty on both sides here that they're trying to sort out. All well, a very successful wave is taking place here with the crowd at Percival Molson Stadium. There it is. Look at that.
Yeah, great night.
Packed house here for the Friday Night Football opener. One of those people might be wearing a Sanchez jersey. Maybe.
But there's pictures of Enoch in the bathroom, so we got that going.
What a night for the panel, eh? What a huge night for the panel.
Long conversation.
So there's a hold one way against Toronto, and then a misconduct, we believe, on Wynn. So for Montreal. Here we go. Let's sort this out.
There were 2 fouls on the previous play. Holding Toronto number 58. Objectionable conduct, misconduct, Montreal number 98. We're going to replay 2nd down at the same line.
So Dylan Wynn stood over when they made the tackle. Dylan Wynn stands over. You can celebrate all you want, but the league does not want you standing over somebody and celebrating. They want to call that a taunting. They do not want you standing up over somebody, looking down at them, taking too long in front of them. They want you to celebrate, just not over the top of somebody.
Arbuckle forced up in the pocket, looking for the first down, and he may have it. And now a late flag right at the end of that as Arbuckle pushed ahead.
2nd and short. You know you're going to get some type of man coverage trying to flip the field. Arbuckle doesn't like the pictures, just scramble forward.
Rudess, unnecessary roughness. Montréal, number 2, numéro 2, 15 verges de pénalité, premier essai.
Sean Oakman, the big fella. Late hit on the quarterback here.
You see him on the right of your screen trying to chase. As he comes in, trying to get rid of those type of hits when the quarterback's down. But putting all your weight on the quarterback is not something the league wants the defensive lineman to do, so there's the penalty.
Toronto midfield. Just a field goal so far in this game for the Argos. Arbuckle on the run. Had to throw that one away with some pressure in his face. Now 13 of 19 in the game.
Good defense keeping it, just dropping everybody in zone, giving Arbuckle no place to throw. He has to scramble away and throw it away. So Noel Thorpe's changing up the pictures on every series after these couple of penalties have flipped the field for the Argos. Penalties lowest in 50 seasons last year. So that's this
positive,
week, right? Only 13
sign
per game.
Keeps the games moving when everybody's being good boys down there. Disciplined football. incomplete. Not sure who was supposed to be there. Unger and Brissett were both in the area, but neither had a play on that ball.
You can see some conversation between Nick trying to sort and Unger trying to sort out whether he was supposed to stop sooner, go deeper, not sure.
Montreal's defense outstanding so far in this one. Haggerty from his 45. Letcher waits, now takes just inside the 15 and tried to reverse it back. D'Arcangelo was there to make the tackle on a packed evening in Montreal. They're loving their Alouettes on top.
Certainly unacceptable. Here you go, just a simple twist. We've got our right tackle doing a spin move himself, gets a holding call. Can't happen, they only bring 4. And once again, you look at this play here, a sack, you got a running back on a defensive lineman. How is this happening? And I think if you go back and you're the Argos and you talk Coach Dinwiddie and he watches this film, he's gonna be upset with this entire operation because it's not as much of what the Montreal Alouettes are doing as much as you're just absolutely clueless up front.
Arbuckle struggling behind that line so far. Alexander on the other end. Alexander's done a good job getting outside of the pocket and making plays on the run, hasn't he?
Yeah, you know, it's the longer you're waiting back there and the longer you have time, guys get wide open because the zones are just going to break down. He's been able to do that and create with his legs. But the biggest thing is Montreal's been in second and medium, and the Argonauts have been in second or second and extra long. And that doesn't allow you to run the football, doesn't allow you to minimize your play calls. That's what Montreal's offense is doing a good job of now, being in manageable situations.
Empty backfield here for Alexander. Got that one away quickly. Bounce behind Rambo. And Parrish was saying, keep going. And Alexander is down holding his knee. This is not good for the Montreal Alouettes. Oh, you do not want to see this. Takes over as the #1 guy, having a very good game. And now lays on the field in pain. Here's a look.
So as Callender is blocking, he ends up throwing his defender into, I believe, into Davis Alexander's legs, unfortunately. It's good to see him get up, get off.
He is up and he is jogging off. So for now, sigh of relief for Alouettes fans and the coaching staff, and of course, good Davis Alexander.
Good stop by the Argos defense. This is a backed up situation. This should create really good field position for the Argos here. This is a good stop for the Argos D.
Low snap. Tima goes and gets it. Lets it fly. Turner takes it at the 42. Going to try to stretch it outside. Nowhere to go, though. This is trouble. Cuts it back. Can't escape. Might have had some room if he could have got around Gagne, but he did not. Ends up losing 4 yards on that return.
The width of the field, you know, for young returners looks really good sometimes, Dusty, but the speed on the field, you sometimes just put your foot in the ground, get north-south. Get 4 yards instead of thinking you're going to flip the field and get 80 yards.
That's what he's thinking. He's thinking, oh, if I can just get out there, there's a ton of space. Like we mentioned, Janarian Grant not available for week 1.
5 touchdowns last season for Janarian, just a spectacular football player.
The best in the biz.
Yeah.
Alexander seems to be fine. Back diving into the iPad. They'll clear things out for Arbuckle. 3 to the left, 3 to the right. Pressure in the pocket. Tries to spin away. gets there, takes him down.
So a chase, Argoooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooooo going to chase Arbuckle as Arbuckle starts to scramble. He doesn't like the picture. He has to spin back outside. Alouette is there. So there's, as we talked about, there's no rhythm for the Argos right now. Right now they're sitting at 2nd and 20. Very hard to overcome this situation. And you're going to get the defensive line is going to tee off once again.
Another 9-yard loss for Toronto. Alouettes just send 4 this time. Arbuckle gets it away. McMahon gets popped on his way out of bounds by Ento.
As everybody drops out in coverage, you got to throw these checkdowns, and those aren't situations that it's going to help you get anywhere close to what you need for a first down. So, unfortunately, they had pretty good field position, but they just lose the yardage on first down. Force them to keep punting, keep backing up. Defense doing a great job for Montreal.
Haggerty, who's been busy tonight. Gets it away cleanly. A little bit of a lower kick, extra weights, and hauls it in just inside the 30. Couple of blocks back to the 46 before he's pushed out of bounds at the end of the third quarter. Davis Alexander seems to be just fine, and he's been much, much better than that so far tonight for the Montreal Alouettes. Home crowd loving what they're seeing from a team that won 12 games last year. They're on their way to maybe picking up their first of this season tonight.
The team will win the 112th Grey Cup. Oh, come on. Let me talk to my crystal ball real quick.
You know the answer to that.
Who'd you pick?
Saskatchewan Rough Riders will win.
BC Lions will definitely win the 112th Grey Cup.
Iowa Redbacks.
I'm going to go with the dark horse or the white horse.
Arlahu set to boot it away. And the always dangerous Letcher waits back. They'll kick it away from him. It'll be taken on the far side. Returned up along the sideline by Richards. Let's take another look at that TD.
Yeah, let's take a look at what the quarterback is looking at on this concept. You're going to have a person going deep. You're going to have a person going out to the sideline. What is the quarterback going to read? This player. If that player backs up at all, you're throwing the out cut. Because I'll tell you, Lorenzo Burns recognizes this and does a good job of leaving his go route and coming up to make a play. But Devarius Daniels understands where he is on the field, extends the ball. So really good read by Nick, reading the corner. The corner backs up. I'm going to throw the out cut. And Devarius Daniels makes the extra effort play for the touchdown. Great job by the Argos.
Travis Tice into the game at running back. He'll stand to the left of Davis Alexander, and he'll get the ball. This time he runs into some traffic. Back to the line of scrimmage. No further. Anthony Lanier, Jordan Williams clogging up the middle of that defensive line.
And you can just see after a big touchdown like that, the offense moves right down the field. All of a sudden, the spark of the defense, they're ready to go. They're like, hey, we're going to make a stop. We're going to give you the ball right back, and let's get back into this football game.
Haven't been many 2nd and 10 situations for Davis Alexander and this Montreal offense thus far tonight. Argos send 5. Alexander on the right, dumps it off to Rambo. He's got a first down. McManus will eventually throw him to the turf. But almost to midfield, another play made by the quarterback on the run.
And here's the hardest part of this stuff. You know, you come out and you play zone coverage. Okay, you got zone coverage up on the field, but watch as the quarterback scrambled. The low zone player doesn't know what to do. So as he comes in, he starts to go, I'm going to go play coverage. Nope, I'm going to go get the quarterback. Nobody's now for the receiver. So that's the hard part. You got to stay with your people as long as you can. They leave them. You go up, take the quarterback. Nobody in that spot of the zone. Throw to Rambo. That's what Davis Alexander brings to this new offense.
Now they'll get it out to Tice. And he pushes ahead. McManus on the tackle again. But there've been big offensive chunks for Travis Tice in his CFL debut tonight.
Yeah, quick screen. You get that screen out, put yourself at 2nd and 1. Nice. Get it out to a guy in space who can break tackles. That's good to do. Do that as much as you can. You got a really athletic guy who's going to break tackles, put the ball out on the perimeter.
Team leading 7 tackles for McManus as a knockdown as well. Caleb Evans into the game for the 2nd and inches, has a touchdown in a similar situation earlier today to push ahead. And he's got it this time easy. Right up the middle for about 3 or 4 yards.
Good wedge snap. Caleb's done very good for Montreal last couple of years. Did some of that in Ottawa. But good numbers for Davis Alexander here. You know, good start out for him. And I really like how Jason Moss and Anthony Calvillo called the game for him, giving him opportunities to take shots downfield, but also high percentage throws. Don't put him in tough situations, any long yardage situations.
You mentioned Calvillo. This is an organization that's gone through a lot of quarterbacks since Calvillo, and they're hoping they found one here in Davis Alexander. He's got a completion near side. That's Cole Speaker, his 2nd catch of the ball game. 1st down, Montreal.
You know, once again, this is a wide receiver screen out on the perimeter. Ball's out immediately. But the receiver's got to block, and that's what I feel good about this receiving core out here, doing a good job. Look at Tyson Fulton. He's working hard. You know, I always used to say this to the players. Hey, screens stink if you don't block, guys, on the perimeter. Make sure you do some blocking, and we'll call a lot of wide receiver screens. You see the effort from the wide receivers from Montreal to help each other, help Speaker get that 1st down yardage.
12-yard pickup for Speaker, 5th receiver to have multiple catches tonight for the Alouettes. Now they'll hand it off. Thomas Erlington takes it down inside the 25 as the Alouettes with a real back-breaking drive here midway through the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and they will everything be very sharp here. Just make sure you just stay on schedule. Make sure you can kick a field goal. Keep pushing this score up to a 15-point lead.
Excellent start last year for the Alouettes, 10-1 on the campaign to start it. Did not end the way they wanted after that loss to Toronto in the East Final, but they were outstanding out of the gate last year. Thomas Erlington, heavy blow from Donald Rutledge. Looks like he's been wobbled a little bit. Rutledge with the Bombers a couple of years ago.
Yeah, came in from the perimeter linebacker, the strong side linebacker. Jumped into the hole, no lineman there to block. Was able to make the tackle on the inside zone play. See him show up right in your screen here, unblocked.
Injury spotter is going to take Rutledge out of this game. Pretty easy call on that one, I think. He's going to get the first crack alongside McManus and Cam Judge for the Argos this year. Maltos 0 for 1 tonight. He missed from 38. This one will be from 31. Straight away, I mentioned earlier in the game, almost 92% last year. Only Sean White and Paredes with a better field goal percentage than Maltos. And no mistake there, right down the middle. And the lead is 15 with 5:39 on the clock in our first Friday night football affair of the season.
You can't throw the ball to that post on the inside. He fools Nick Arbuckle thinking that he's expanding, that he can throw it in there. Excellent play by the outstanding football player, making the tremendous interception, kind of fooling the quarterback.
Had 2 interceptions last year and an outstanding season. And now pushing ahead for a first down and much more. Thomas Erlington, 18 yards.
Yeah, you can see him dropping back for depth. Then he works inside. Can't throw it when he works inside. Tips the ball, recovers it himself. Huge takeaway. And again, this is what the Alouettes talked about. Jason Moss talked about in the meeting. Hey, we dropped 12 interceptions last year. We can be better than we were last year. And that's what they talked about in training camp, that we need to make sure we can perform as well as possible. We need to go steal the ball, take the ball away. There's another example. Multiple takeaways in this football game, and they had a score on defense. So that's a great start for this Montreal Alouettes defense.
All right, it's been a good night for the Montreal Alouettes. And more on this impressive start to the season for Montreal. Let's send it down to Luke Wilson.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. I got to tip my cap to Coach Moss, the offensive coordinator, Anthony Calvillo. The whole offense has been incredible. And I look at it from a player's perspective here. You're really dominating this game, and you give up the touchdown to the Argos. Kind of a fluke ordeal. You have the big play, and it's a great touchdown by Daniels. And you sit here and you say, okay, maybe this team has some life, talking about Toronto now. And you come back out, and it's a masterful play drive. Starts with your quarterback extending this play, finding an open man, kind of bailing you out, getting a big first down. And then again, Coach Moss just gets in his bag. You see the Argos are playing downhill. They're trying to stop the run. This is a glorified run. Little bubble to your running back. Okay, they're still playing downhill. You got a big slot receiver. Easy pitch and catch. You're blocking. You're gashing them. You come, you take points on, you put points on the board. You have a ton of play time that just came off. It's demoralizing for the Argos. You think you have a shot for a second, and you say absolutely not. You handle business. As an ex-offensive guy, I love to see it. You got to tip your cap to the Montreal Alouettes offense tonight. They've been incredible.
Well, how about this in the drive that Luke was just describing? 5 minutes in the middle of the fourth quarter. So a very good job there from the Alouettes, and a very good job from our newest guy, Luke Wilson, on the sidelines tonight. Yeah,
really good. Really good.
Great night. Awesome addition.
I've never stood next to him, so today, standing next to Dustin and Luke Wilson, I feel really short. I do.
You're
really
a pretty
do.
good-sized man, though.
I'm 6 feet.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah, and I'll tell you the other thing is the amazing job our panel did traveling from Regina, a tough place to travel all the way out here to East Coast and heading back to studio tomorrow. So amazing job by our panel traveling across the country.
No rest for the wicked.
Yes, and they're going again tomorrow.
Safe travels to that crew as they head back tomorrow. The traffic, I guess I'll be walking back to the hotel. Busy night in Montreal.
Looking forward to seeing this Ticats Stampeders game tomorrow. You know, for me, the Ticats, I'm really interested to see what happens with this defense for the Tiger Cats this season. You know, can they improve to help that offense? And
you know, the offense is going to be good, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Clock ticks down to the final couple of minutes. Alexander looking to put the finishing touches on an Alouettes victory. Hands it off. Erling, what have you thought of him? I mean, they let Fletcher go. We've talked a little bit about Tice, but for now, the main back is Sean Thomas Erlington getting an opportunity here to be a #1 guy in his career. What do you think?
Yeah, and he's always been. Every time he's had opportunities to play, you never felt like, oh, you know, we can finish. You always want this when you play your second string running back. If there's an injury for 5 weeks, you want to go, all right, I can play that guy for 5 weeks and make sure I don't have to fly somebody in, get somebody in, or the practice squad. He's done that. Every time he gets the opportunity to play, performs very well. Good signing by them last year. Gives them a lot of depth at the running back position.
72 yards and 14 carries. This is 15th. And he pushes ahead for 4, almost 5 more.
You know, this is a team, this is good to see out of this Montreal Alouettes team because, you know, I know an area they want to improve in, or I think they would want to be improving is running the football. Last year they did not run the football great. This gives them plenty of opportunities. I think last year they 7th in the CFL running the football, only 80 yards a game, 8th in the CFL. So this gives them a lot of reps, a lot of film to look at. Good execution. They can be confident going into the next week.
At 84.3 yards per game on the ground last year, 155 and counting so far tonight. Nice spin move ahead. And a good chunk on first down again for Thomas Erlington. Toronto's offense just 275 yards.
I liked what Jason
tonight.
Moss said in our meeting. We talked about a little bit about the coach of the year. You know, he was obviously coach of the year last season, and he talked about how much it was an organizational win for Montreal. It wasn't just about me. You know, he was excited to see the guys on his team have success last season, as well as his staff get the accolades. And he's turned the page to come to a new year.
On the ground again. This time they'll be stopped short of the first down. A couple of yards.
And you'll see Toronto now. We'll see what Toronto does next weekend, whether Chad Kelly will factor in, Dustin. We'll see if he ends up back on the roster. We see him, spoke to him before the game, thought he would be ready to go. See what the coaches have to say about Chad Kelly being ready.
Toronto at home for a battle with Calgary next Saturday. Montreal will go down the road to Ottawa. I thought it was a battle of two really good teams last night. Like the Riders, I think many are expecting to be a good team, and I thought Ottawa held really tight with them last night.
Yeah, made it a game at the end of the game, was able to get right back into it.
Maltos from 30, and that one is up and through, and the lead is now 18 for the Alouettes, who took control of this game on the ground relatively early and never really looked back.
Yeah, Montreal right now is sitting at 163 yards rushing in this football game compared to Toronto Argonauts 34. So, you know, I like the plan. You heard Luke talk about it. It's like, hey, we're going to make sure that we can run the football. We can get our quick screen game going. We'll eventually take a couple of shots. But we trust that our defense will do its job and keep people out of the end zone and take the football away. That's a good recipes for success for this football team.
What's a win do? Davis Alexander 4-0 last year, now 5-0. But 1-0 this year. The job is yours. You're our guy. What does this do for his confidence moving forward?
Well, you know, I just think every opportunity, I'll go to the coaches. Every opportunity they get with Davis Alexander to call a game for him, because they've only called 4 games for him, right? The other game plan, the one win they had, wasn't his game plan. So every opportunity they get to see how he handles their scheme makes everybody better in the offensive room. Makes Davis better, makes the coaches know how to call a game better for him. And, you know, sometimes young quarterbacks, they don't have success because of other factors around them. Let's say you are on a team and you're a good young quarterback, but you're facing a team that your team doesn't have a very good defense. Well, you're always behind and all this. He's at a perfect spot because he's with a great defense that's going to not make him take over a football game.
Turner on the return takes it just outside the 40. Of course, no Janarian Grant tonight for the Argos, and that impacts their special games in a rather significant fashion.
So there'll be some growing pains for the Argos. And I think about last year, the Argos, it was an amazing thing they did last year. #1 in the CFL in scoring offense with 3 different quarterbacks playing. It was the first time since 1997 that the Argos led the CFL on offense. And I think there was a guy named Flutie was the quarterback for that team. Not a bad guy, but I'm sure everybody's waiting to see that guy, Chad Kelly, get back in with his deep ball potential.
Arbuckle dumps it off to Mayan Williams. Had a great camp. We didn't see too much of him tonight. We didn't really see much of the Toronto rushing attack at all.
Mayan Williams is a small bowling ball of a football player. He's really, you know, 237 pounds at 5'8".
I had to take a double check it. I double checked that on my stats. I thought, wait a second.
Yeah.
Are we sure that's what this guy is?
No, I came into the league years ago as a running back coach, and I had a guy named Michael Jenkins. He reminds me of Michael Jenkins for the Argonauts years ago.
The Alouettes do exactly what they wanted to. Home opener, beautiful Friday nights, convincing 28-10 victory over their rivals from Toronto, the very team that ended their Grey Cup aspirations last year. What do you think?
I think defensively they did what they normally do. They keep people out of the end zone for a majority of the game. They get takeaways. They score on defense. And they were able to run the football. And I just think there are too many mistakes for Toronto early in the game, put them in long yardage situations against a good defense. And Davis Alexander performed well enough to win the football game. He had a great shot for the touchdown, but he used his legs and managed the football game. So, Montreal is going to be a very tough team to beat, Dustin, when they're playing like this defensively and the quarterback can create with his legs.
Gave up very little on the defensive side of the ball, and the offensive side of the ball more than good enough on our Friday night football opener. Davis Alexander remains perfect as a starter in his young CFL career, going to 5-0, 205 yards passing, 50 more on the ground as well. He's got a ton of weapons, and they all started to click tonight as they take an 8-0 lead at the end of the first quarter and end up winning this game 28-10. That's going to do it for us from Montreal. Let's send it off to Sports Center with Wesley Chan and Jennifer Hedger.
Finals, who will lift the trophy? Will it be the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Indiana Pacers? We're so glad.
Who's going to win the NBA Finals? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Argos and the Alouettes. Montreal, Toronto. Doesn't get any better than this. CFL football. Reigning CFL Grey Cup champions, your Toronto Argonauts. Yeah. Oh, the mic was still on. All right, Argos fans, we won the Grey Cup last November with a beautiful run in the playoffs. And tonight we take on the Montreal Alouettes in the first game of the season. We appreciate you being here. Let's go, Argos! Yes! Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Chat it up. Cheer on our Argos. Stefan, I see you cheering for the Owls. It's all right, man. And welcome to all the Owls fans as well. Please help us continue to grow.